Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology podcast. I am your host, Otaku Mike, and with me, as always, is my fellow convenience store employee, Jin. And we are here to talk about Sakamoto Days, episode 2.
It's a big question.
What?
Do I read minds or do I think about killing you all the time?
I'm gonna say you make pork buns.
I make pork. I mean, I do know how to cook.
You make pork buns like Shaotang.
She's so itty bitty, though.
What do you mean?
I'm not that itty bitty.
I mean, look, we're just going with things, okay? As the older of the two of us who podcast, I feel like I should be Sakamoto because we have a very similar body type.
I think you should be Sakamoto's wife.
I mean, she is pretty scary.
There you go.
She is pretty scary.
Otaku Mike could learn a thing or two from her.
But we start this episode off with Shin and Sakamoto at the convenience store. And Shin is geeking out about what happened the prior day with Sakamoto and Sakamoto's wife, Aoi. That's his wife. What?
Hey, and I also just want to point one thing out I thought was hilarious.
What?
So, remember the last time we recorded for Sakamoto, you were like, yeah, he's been eating a lot of his profits because there wasn't a lot of ramen.
Oh, yeah, they stocked the ramen.
And they stocked all the ramen. I was like, oh, shit, somebody was listening to Mike.
His wife's name is Aoi, right?
Yeah, Aoi.
Yeah, I get him and her and Hana, their names mixed up for some reason. I don't know why.
Hana's the daughter.
I know. But Shin is like gushing over what happened. And he's like, oh man, you iced him. And then I always like, what? Iced him? And she's like, are you killing again? And he's like,
yeah.
no, I'm not killing again. No.
No, honey, I'm not.
We find out the number one rule in the Sakamoto family, which is thou shalt not kill.
Yep.
Because if you do, you get divorced.
Yep.
And that's the worst thing that could happen to Sakamoto is if he could lose his family.
Yep.
Which is funny to see like Shin thought he killed them all, but Sakamoto was like, no, I didn't kill them all. They're just like, I like wounded them. They weren't like fatal wounds.
Yeah.
But the one thing I love is Sakamoto killing Shin in his mind.
Yeah.
Where he jabs 2 pins into his neck.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny.
I was like, man, Shin.
Whenever that like pops up, it always cracks me up.
Yeah. Especially as much as it keeps getting brought up. I love it.
Yes. It's a running gag that I love.
Yeah.
But we find out that so Sakamoto and Shin need to go run an errand. And they're going out to get pork buns because apparently they can only order 55 of them a day for the shop. And they go to get some for Hana and Aoi. And when they go to get them, they run into a little bit of trouble. And what happens, Jin?
They are walking back and somebody jumps from, I think it's like a 4-story building.
Yeah, like jumps to the window.
Yeah, and they come down and land right on top of Sakamoto, which has the buns underneath him, and they just get crushed.
This part was so sad.
I feel like there would be only one thing that would make this part funnier.
What?
And that would be like when Shin picks up the bag and he goes, well, maybe we just got to dust the dirt off of him or whatever. And he opens the bag and he just kind of like does like a quick look and he's like, well, there's no fixing this. And he just slowly shuts the bag back.
I mean,
that is probably my favorite part of this because it's like, oh, we can do this and just open. Oh, yeah, no, we can't. It shuts. And And then to go along with like all of that of, what are we going to do now
Yeah.
with pork buns?
Yeah, we need more pork buns. And Sakamoto is just crushed that his pork buns have been smashed. Because that's all he thinks about throughout this entire episode is like pork buns.
Yeah, yeah.
And also on the side, saving somebody. But he's more worried about the pork buns, I feel like. And so we have this cool fight scene with these mob members who we find out that are part of the Chinese mafia.
Which
And go ahead.
that was weird as hell
How
to
so?
find out like they're in Japan and you have a little China in Japan.
Yeah, which is weird because I think like throughout history, the Chinese and Japanese have not had good relations.
No. No, no.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. No, 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 no. But we do get this cool fight scene, which I love. This fight scene. It was a lot of fun. I like it that we find our name is Shotang. Like it's spelled with
Yeah.
like an X. So Xiaotang. I don't remember exactly what her name is.
I kept thinking they were calling her something with an L like Lu.
It's Lu Shaotang. I think it is what
Then
her accent, but they call her Xiaotang.
we can call her Lu.
We call her Lou. But yeah, and what do? They run away, and all Sakamoto is thinking about is his pork buns while they're getting shot at.
He's like, "Oh, do you know how to make pork buns?
We find,
Well, if you know how to make pork buns, we can get this job done. I'll help you."
yeah. So we find out. Well, we find out later on that while they're running away, that she is part of the Chinese mafia family. I don't know if her family were like that. Were they the heads of the family?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, they were the heads of the family. And they are trying to get this key, which opens like a vault.
yeah.
And Sakamoto's like, hey, if you make your family's pork buns for me or beef buns, whatever they're called, we'll help you. We'll help you out. And then we find out that, before this, we find out that the Chinese mafia has hired two assassins, Bonchi and Hee, I believe his name is.
Yeah. One, I thought it was they didn't hire him out. They were already like their guys.
Yeah, I thought they were hired. Well, they were hired out.
I don't know. I know that there's some kind of mercenary as well, but it kind of seemed like they were with that group of people because they already kind of knew how to deal with them.
You
Know what I'm
think
saying?
so? You think so?
Maybe. I mean, it's going off of the first episode and having like, oh well, Sakamoto's the best assassin, but he was under a family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what I feel like it is. Like, you can still be hired out. You just can't be hired out to kill somebody in the family, maybe. I don't know.
When they chop off that one guy's head,
Yeah.
and grab it, and like he's like, look, I'm stopping him from breathing. His head is detached from his body.
Yeah. No, he was saying that it was still trying to breathe.
Yeah. I was like, that is so freaky.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And then like a little while after that, to find out what they like to do is take the heads home and like draw them, and then you're looking at the art behind them, and you're like, this looks like a 2-year-old drew this stuff.
Well, one of them did really, really good artwork, if you saw, and the other one did really, really bad artwork. I think it was Bonchi did the really good artwork, and he did the bad artwork. I think it was.
I don't know. Looking behind him, I thought it was all bad.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
But they end up showing up to get this key that Shaotang has, and Sakamoto gets sucker kicked in the face, which that seemed like it really hurt. It reminded me of like when you squeeze a stress ball.
Yeah.
Like his face like going in on itself. That's what
Yeah.
it reminded me of.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny the reverberation you kind of saw in his glasses, and then it was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, but they're not screwed up or anything.
No, no, they weren't screwed up, but he gets kicked all the way into a building.
Yeah,
Um, this fight was really cool. Well, the first part of the fight, I guess you could say, this fight very much felt like the most shonen element of like a shonen manga. I feel like with these two characters.
so I would only say one other thing felt more shonen-y than
Uh-huh.
that, which was the them skipping across the top of the roof buildings.
Oh yes, and then
That and just the style of them doing it, like that felt really like shonen wise.
yeah,
And then we
yeah,
had the fight start,
yeah.
and I was like, oh
Oh,
man,
that was funny. Like, I mean, it was funny to see them like call out their names of their attacks and stuff.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Go ahead.
well, and then like you said, where like kind of like where Sakamoto returned the favor and he hit the guy on top of the head,
Yeah.
and he ended up flying through the building
Oh
into
yeah.
the thing in the bottom, and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? And then they kept trying to like say, oh, lucky guess, it's an old build, or lucky hit, it's an old building, and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't just take like a thing that like busted a building's roof in
Oh,
half and
he like crushes his head into the building.
yeah, I mean, they tried to downplay it hard.
No, they do. They definitely do. And I love the little detail where he falls flat on his face, like the Boonchi guy, whatever his name is,
Yeah,
the bald headed guy. He falls flat on his face, and his brother just falls through with him, and he's still standing.
yeah,
And I'm like, what the fuck? And like everybody else falls in with him as well. And we find out that they're in a kitchen, uh, which I wonder if they were in like a Chinese kitchen because they're still in Little China, I believe.
that one I do not know, but I kind of thought it was a little bit like an abandoned building.
Uh-huh.
But then when Sakamoto starts pulling out like actual utensils that, well, and like things, like at one
Yeah.
point he pulls out a pot that actually has soup in it,
Yeah, he does.
and he hits one of the guys, and you're like, what?
Yeah, but we do get a.
Um,
Go ahead.
we get that, and then where he does it with the refrigerator, and when he hits the guy
Oh,
with the
yeah.
refrigerator, like
That that's towards the end of the episode.
fresh produce comes out.
That's towards the end of the episode. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it, buddy. You're getting a little ahead of yourself.
We're in the same fight.
Yes, but we didn't get to the flashback. The important flashback that they have to where we find it's around Christmas time and it's snowing, and Sakamoto.
Hey, buddy, this flashback happened way before this part.
No, it happens. It happens in the fight. Like it happens like right in the middle of the fight after they fall in to the hole through the roof. Yeah, it does.
Oh, because I thought that happened after, but when they're on their way to get the pork buns, like he tells them the
No,
story.
no, it did. This happens like right in the middle of the fight because Shaotang is like, "Why are these guys helping me? Who are these guys?" Because they don't really. He doesn't really tell them who they are. Like, because she doesn't know who Shin is or Sakamoto is. She just knows them as like shopkeepers, so she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah,
But we find out she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And we find out that when Sakamoto was first dating Aoi during Christmas time, which I honestly thought that when he met her, he just gave up the job cold turkey.
this
But
is true. Yeah,
apparently, he didn't give up the job cold turkey like we thought. So he gets off work. It's around Christmas time, like I said, and he brings her a gift, and he has a little bit of blood on his face. He's a big disgrace because he was kicking some cans all over the place.
you're stupid. Although at the same time I say that, get out of my head because I was thinking that too. I just wasn't going to say it.
And I always like, well, you got blood on your face. what are you doing? And he's like, oh, just got off work. I had to, I needed to get you a present. And because he couldn't afford anything if he didn't work. And she's like, I told you, I'm not going to be with you if you start killing people again. And she really gets mad at him, and they kind of have like this argument almost. And she's like, I can't change him. I can't fix him. Because that's what women want to do. They want to fix the men who were damaged.
I and then she throws herself off of like a pretty high hill, and you're like, oh my
Yes.
god.
I'm like, oh my god. And he bolts after her, like breaking through the guardrail, and he saves her life.
Running down the side of the wall.
Yeah. Which I
And
was
then
like,
then she's I really want to know how oblivious she is though. Like she caught him being like a killer kind of thing. But she was like, oh, it didn't look like it was that high, and look at all the snow. It's a good thing it was here to save us. And I was like,
yeah.
Are you fucking oblivious that you just jumped off of a high thing? And if he hadn't run down really fast and caught you, that the snow probably wouldn't have done shit.
It kind of reminds me of, like those videos you see on like YouTube or whatever, like people like, yeah, I can make that jump. Totally, I can make that jump. And then like they don't make the jump.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. Like, oh, I can survive this fall, obviously, because there's snow on the ground. It's not that far.
You can make the jump.
You can
Neo.
make it.
You can make it, Neo.
I gotta be honest. I'm surprised they actually survived. Who's Mio? What do you? It's
Neo.
Aoi. What?
Neo.
Oh, Neo.
You can survive the jump,
Oh, Neo. Okay, like with the Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what?
I was
like, what? What?
I was like, who's Mio?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised they actually survived the fall.
Because it's Sakamoto.
I know it is Sakamoto, but logically, if you fell from that height, you should be dead.
I mean, I guess running down the side of the wall, helped cushion the blow too.
The snow helped cushion the blow.
Yep.
It was all the snow. Nobody comes down to see if they're all right.
No, but they're standing there like, oh.
I'm surprised they didn't get impaled by like those Christmas pole things that were in the ground. That would have been wild.
Hey, I have no clue.
But yeah, Aoi basically tells Sakamoto, she's like, look, if you want to be with me, you got to stop killing. And to make up for things, you need to like help people instead of killing them. Like almost like repenting for your sins almost.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is where like Sakamoto's life changes from here on out.
Yeah. But you do realize though that there is a lot for him though that he keeps to himself, which are the memories that we see from Shin where it's Sakamoto killing people.
Yeah.
So I mean it is still there. He makes the choice to not do it though.
Yeah. Which I have to say this moment was very heartfelt, I felt like. Like it was a nice scene.
Yeah.
A nice heartfelt, like warm scene. Because it shows like the love that, she has for him. And she like wants him to be a better person.
Yeah. Well, and the love that he has for her because of him choosing not to do that stuff.
True. And I love Shin's reaction. He's like, oh my God, he loves her so much.
Yeah.
As these murderers are trying to kill them, Shin is bawling his eyeballs out.
What's wrong?
I also love the fact that as Sakamoto is trying to dodge all of these attacks, we get here's Sakamoto, let me help you. Where Shin, like, he's like, oh man, I think I pulled a muscle in my neck. Here, Sakamoto, let me put this like muscle patch on you. Oh, you cut your hand? Oh, let me help you with this band-aid.
Oh yeah, in the middle of combat, and both the guys are like,
they're like, what the fuck?
What's going on?
Like, yeah, like what the fuck's going on? I don't know what's going on. But yeah,
Which, that was another thing in perfect shonen fashion, though, was where their attacks were named.
Oh yeah, it was like tofu
It was
friends,
it was the
iron
iron
something.
iron. I think it was iron special tofu scramble.
Yeah, I think tofu scramble was the first attack,
Yeah, and the second one we didn't get to find out what it was because they got cut short.
which only two other people have seen that attack apparently.
Yeah,
Nobody else has.
it was so good that if you use a soup pot full of soup, that you're able to knock somebody out first before they can.
I really liked that he was using like a ladle and a spatula
Yeah,
to like fight these guys.
yeah,
It just made me laugh so hard. Like this whole episode was funny.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I really like the like we were talking about where he hit the guy with the soup pot, which is the one that you're talking about with the here, Mr. Sakamoto. Let me help you with
Yeah. Oh
a
yeah.
bandage on your hand, and then he does the refrigerator on the other guy, and it was like, oh yeah.
Which
And then
that's
he stands up uh to talk to Lou or whatever, and
uh
I guess it's a soft boiled crab, I would think, or whatever.
okay.
But
He
he
eats it.
stands back and he pulls the legs off, and he's eating just the legs and everything. And I was like, oh my god,
Yeah. So like the we did you notice that the pot was full of soup
yeah,
and he crushes him with it like you said, and he takes him out in pretty like hard fashion. Like he wipes the floor with these guys.
yeah, he
Uh,
does,
yeah, and Shin helps a little bit. He helps at one part. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
he's not a total like invalid.
And then they had to go see one of the worst villains I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, we also mentioned like he crushed the guy with the fridge,
Yeah,
like you said. How did he like? I feel like that would kill somebody.
it's an anime, buddy. You can't
I
you
know,
can't
but he's not
question all
supposed to
that
kill
stuff.
anybody. But he's not
And
supposed to kill.
he made sure it only hit non lethal
Oh,
spots.
non-lethal organs.
Yeah, that's what he made sure of.
Because he's like cold chill or something, cold slam. I think it was
Yeah.
called.
I only I only have crushed him like a bug. I didn't fully crush him
Yeah,
like
I
a
didn't
bug.
fully crush him. It's not
Yeah.
but yeah, no, like I when we yeah let's talk about when we get to the big part of this, which is where we do see the worst anime villain of all time. I feel like he's not threatening whatsoever.
No, and he has like a bowl cut and everything
He
going
has a
on.
bowl
And
cut and like a mustache,
I was like, the fuck is this guy?
and he's sitting there like wanting to like wait to get into this vault. He's like, "Where are these two numbskulls?" And they're like, "Oh, we got something for you, a special delivery." When Sakamoto and Shin have these guys tied up,
Yeah.
and Shaotang ends up showing up behind this guy with a knife to his throat, and she's like, "I'm gonna kill you." And
Right?
he's like, "Oh, I'll give you anything you want. Please don't kill me." And she's like, "The only thing I want are my parents back, and you can't give me my parents back."
Shishing.
Which I was like, "Whoa, she's right. You can't do that."
Right?
And what does she do? She beats him senseless.
Yeah. And then
And
he
she's like, "Are you?"
goes into the vault.
Shin was like, "Are you sure that's enough? I think we should do a little bit more."
Yeah.
But
And
he has like
Sakamoto's like,
lumps all over his face and head.
don't overdo it.
Yeah, don't overdo it. We're okay. We got this.
Yeah. Which
And
then he tells Shin, he goes, family rules, you have to remember it too.
yeah, you have to remember it too. Yeah. Um, but we end up getting into this vault, and there's actually treasure and money in the vaults, as well as books, CDs, a teddy bear,
Yep.
and we find out everything is like a precious thing from one of the heads of the family.
Yep.
Which reminded me of, did you ever watch Richie Rich as a kid?
Yeah,
The movie, the Macaulay Culkin movie.
no,
So in Richie Rich, this guy wants to get into like the richest vault,
okay,
which is supposed to hold all their money. And they finally get to the vault. And the vault just has like family heirlooms in it
right,
from like from Richie and like their family. So it's like baby books, baby stroller. Oh, this is the suit I wore when I first met you. Stuff like that. So it was like sentimental things.
yeah, yeah,
And that's what this kind of reminded me of a little bit.
okay,
Is like because a lot of it seemed like sentimental things, and
yeah,
also money as well.
yeah. I I agree with that. It seemed like it was just their most prized possessions.
Yes, yes.
And so like whenever you did see part of it where it was like the teddy bear and some of the books and other things like that, like you saw like what kind of stake that they had in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of funny in that sense that you have these guys that are willing to kill and everything to try and get the key to get in there. And it's like, yeah, I kind of wish that they had succeeded because I would have loved to see the look on their faces like, we got in this vault and there's not really anything in here we want, you know?
I mean, there was like a pile of gold and jewels and stuff in there.
Yeah. I don't know if that would have been all that they, because I'm sure they were thinking like the whole room would have been full like that, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
and we find out what is Lou's father. But what did he put in there? And we find out he puts in this bottle of alcohol. And the bottle of alcohol is for him and her to share when she comes of age. And what does she decide to do? She decides to actually share it with Sakamoto and Shin, and they sit down and have a drink and eat the crushed pork buns.
Yep.
That's what they do. And then if you ended it right there, that's where the episode ends. But if you go
But
to,
but that was a good scene too because
it was,
you also got where Shin was like, "Oh my god, they're still crushed and everything," and he tastes them and he goes, "Oh, they're so good."
yeah,
And Sakamoto goes, "Yeah, well, even an appearance that's basically changed doesn't mean that it loses any of like its value." You know what
or
I'm
its
saying?
flavor. Yeah,
Yeah, which is kind of what I feel like two grew off of the first episode, where even though Sakamoto is a big chubby fat guy now, he's still as good as he was when he was
hey,
skinny.
he's fluffy. Okay,
Whatever, whatever,
he's fluffy. Okay,
whatever.
but
Um,
we
and
get.
then
Go ahead.
and then we have where Lou is sitting there and she goes, "You Japanese are weird." And I was just like, does she even know how to make these pork bun things? Like, that's what I'm going to be like
So here's the
shocked
thing.
about.
Here's the thing. At the end of the credits, we get this scene to where Sakamoto and Shin are back, and there's like this sign where it's like it says like pork bun something, but it's in like Japanese or something. But there's a
Yeah,
sign for pork buns, and Shin talks about how like too bad we couldn't get the rest of those pork buns, and then Lu shows up and she's wearing a smock. Sakamoto hires Lu to make pork buns for the shop.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a real fun scene because Shin's like, "Oh man, who's gonna eat those? Nobody's gonna eat those. They're probably not good." And um, Sakamoto actually like snaps his neck and like his like head to like stop Shin from talking, which is really funny.
Yeah,
And then after that, we actually see where the mob puts $1 million bounty on Sakamoto's head. So more is to come
yeah.
going forward.
Do you know if there was one after episode one
I
when we
went
watched
back
that?
and looked there was not.
Okay, I wonder if they'll make that like a thing that happens from
I
now
don't
on.
know. I'm guessing maybe I don't know because it was a long scene. It was
Yeah,
like a minute or two for a scene.
yeah,
It wasn't like a stinger. It was like a good solid couple minutes
yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah,
That's good. That's good.
I
So
want to
maybe
know.
Maybe next Saturday we'll figure out more.
What were your thoughts about episode 2 of Sakamoto Days, buddy?
Um, I'd say it was good. I really only had one problem with this,
Mm-hmm.
and it came down to like the voice actors.
For who?
The bad guys, the Boonchi guy or whatever,
Yeah. No, their voices were pretty ridiculous.
um, and it was like when one of them started talking at one point, like it was fine, and then you heard the other one start talking, and he sounded like kind of ghetto.
And he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this."
And then the other one, I would have to say, it was fine at points, but then it almost sounded like he went to like a southern drawl. And so, like, both of them, like, being Chinese really just threw me off. I was like,
They, yeah.
why would you, who did you get to voice act for these people? And why did you use those two to be like, yeah, well, we're trying to make these authentic, like, Chinese assassin guys that da da da. Like, no, it was pointless.
They were pretty like the two assassins were pretty like out there.
Yeah,
Like they felt like really out there and like almost like not supposed to be in this world.
yeah, yeah,
Like they didn't really seem to fit too well.
yeah.
But I mean that's my only little complaint. And like I thought their voice acting was pretty outlandish. I felt
Yes.
like but I really think that Lu Shaotang uh is a good addition to the Sakamoto Days.
Yeah, yeah,
She's a really fun character. And I like it that she's not an assassin. She's just a normal person who happened to be the daughter of the Chinese mafia head of
yeah.
the family. Which they
They mu-
mention that she's rich.
yeah,
They mention that she's rich now because of everything. And she was like, "Oh, I don't want to sell my family heirlooms." So she comes to work at Sakamoto's place.
yeah,
But yeah, no, I thought it was a lot of fun. Very well done second episode. The animation still held up after the second episode.
yeah,
Sometimes after the first episode, animation quality might dip a little,
yeah.
but I felt like this was solid. It was a solid second episode.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hopefully going forward that the company that's working on this, which obviously I hope that when they get more voice actor people that they will kind of vet a little better because those two just sounded like they were pretty green.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean honestly, and I know you and I don't have any professional training on voice acting or anything, but I honestly feel like you and I could have done a better job than both those people.
I don't know, maybe. So
Especially especially for being brothers and they don't sound the same. Like they're both out there. They both sound like one of them came from the boonies and the other one's from the south. Like
so
it just didn't make a lot of sense.
I'm looking it up,
Yeah.
and the animation studio is TMS Entertainment,
Okay.
I believe, is what it is. And let me, yeah, because it says Studio TMS Entertainment. And guess what animes they have done?
What?
Detective Conan and
Okay.
Lupin the Third.
Oh, cool.
But I can't tell or see who was the English like dub studio. I can only see the studio that animated the TV series because it says licensed by Netflix. So we don't really have
Um,
a thing for it.
let's see. So I found one. It's a website called Behind the Voice Actors,
Uh huh.
and it says that Bang Zoom
Oh,
Entertainment is the voice pro.
Bang Zoom. Okay, okay. I know what
Yeah,
Bang Zoom is.
you're welcome.
Bang Zoom. Bang Zoom did a lot of the Bandai Entertainment dubs. So they did like for like Ghost in the Shell standalone complex and stuff like that, and a lot
Yeah.
of the Geneon dubs
Yeah.
as well. So like they're like a pretty well known dubbing company, and they usually get really good people to do their dubs.
Well,
Well, they're also known for like when they would dub originally,
yeah.
they would stick like faithfully to like the Japanese like language.
Yeah.
So like their dubs kind of sounded like not like natural sounding, like flow and like with acting,
Yeah.
but like the voice actors themselves were really good. Like that's the one where you got like Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Um, Cowboy Bebop was dubbed at Bang Zoom, I believe. Uh, Chobits was done at Bang Zoom. Like a lot of prominent like English dubs were done there.
Yeah.
It's more of like an LA based
Yeah.
studio, so it's not in Texas.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, I can see who the voice actors are on this.
yeah,
So of
yeah. No,
course,
they're a pretty good dubbing studio. I feel like maybe they just threw some people in there like, hey, do a voice, and they have to have an accent because these are Chinese characters. I don't know.
yeah. I don't. One of these guys I don't know. I mean, I know some of the stuff he's voiced in a little bit.
Uh huh.
Voiced in Castlevania. Voiced Paladins, Champions of the Realm. Spies in Disguise. These are all like claymations. Orin in the Dark,
Uh huh.
which is a Netflix movie,
Yeah.
and then he did Bancho,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
Toru Uchikedo,
Uh huh.
and then Son Hee was this one when you click on the guy, this is like his first role.
Oh, okay.
So his is Dushant Fikshun Stelgal.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know either.
I
But
don't know who that is.
yeah, I mean it's his first go
Okay.
around though.
Well, I hope he gets more roles. Maybe something better than Shon He.
Right.
But yeah, I
I,
thought this was a good second episode. I can't wait to watch more of this every Saturday, probably.
yeah, I can't wait either. That way I can be like, guess what?
What?
Did you watch that new episode of Sakamoto? And then I can say to everybody else, guess what?
I did.
Um, did you listen to a new episode of Otakuology podcast where they covered Sakamoto Days?
Like,
If
what?
not,
No, you didn't.
if not, you better get on it.
Yeah, totally. But yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Remember to rate and review the podcast, share the podcast. You can comment on our Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star review. It helps people find the podcast. You can hit us up on our Instagram at Otakuology Podcast or YouTube at Otakuology. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Yeah, and if you rate it 5 stars, it also helps us feel loved because
Yeah,
we view it as 5 hearts.
that's
So,
true. That's true.
but anyway, guys, as always, see you next Tuesday.